We all agree that America has a very serious problem.
Okay, KBLA delegation, we need your help as we launch our 2024 Climate Justice Campaign. We would deeply appreciate you going to our KBLA 1580 website and filling out a short climate justice survey, which will help us better serve our beloved community as we build out this campaign. It'll take you just a few short minutes to complete the online survey, and the information you provide us will be invaluable as we do our part to hold folk accountable and amplify the voices of our people in this climate conversation. When you take the survey, you'll be automatically entered to win seats at our annual Black History Month luncheon, Thursday, February 29th. So, hit our website at KBLA 1580. Help us out by taking the short climate justice campaign survey, and you could be our guest at our annual Black History Month luncheon, Thursday, February 29th. Thank you in advance for your consideration and cooperation. At KBLA Talk 1580, we care about the community, we care about the climate. We care about the climate.
You ready?
It's the queen of royal badness.
It's time for the Raw Report with Robin Ayers.
Highlighting people and things you should know about.
Robin's got you covered. Follow Robin at Robin Ayers. You're listening to the Raw Report on KBLA Talk 1580.
Robin's got a lot to talk about.
Turn off the lights and light a candle. Tonight I'm in a romantic mood. Yeah. Let's take a shower.
You are inside the Raw Report on KBLA Talk 1580. Oh my goodness, that is some beautiful music there, Andy. Is this Teddy P? Come on, Teddy Pendergrass. What a way to bring in the Raw Report. Happy Valentine's Day to all of you. You are listening to me, Robin Ayers. You know how we do, how we get down over here. I see you already. Raw Squad is in the building. I appreciate that, Andy. Thank you so much for you. You bring me such joy, Andy. You bring me such joy. Happy Valentine's Day to you.
Same to you. Hey, baby, this weekend is going down.
Did you just shout out? Did you just give a message to your lady on the Raw Report? And as you should. He said this weekend, be ready. All right. What do you have planned, as a matter of fact? I'm not going to get in your business in case it's, a surprise or anything.
I mean, nothing crazy. I already kind of put her up on game. It's going to be dinner, some form of activity. Okay. But it's all her choices.
Okay. All right. Very nice. Okay. So
I'm just sponsoring everything.
I get it. And okay, I'm not mad at you for that. Listen, I do have a question. I have a question for everybody. I've always looked at Valentine's Day as not a big deal. For the most part, it's not necessarily a big deal. I know social media, you go on there and it's a fight to prove whose man loves them more with this and that, or whose woman loves them more. Women are stepping up these days too.
Come on now, Robin. You know you was flexing today too. Stop playing.
Oh, well, just with pictures. Pictures are fine. I'm talking about they'll be like, look at everything that he's done for me, all the flowers and and a new car. And I'm like, listen, for you to have to show, and I said this last year, if you need to show everything that's been done for you, then you're proving what is not done for you throughout the rest of the year. That deserves a mic drop right there. That deserves a moment. Okay. All right. Well, anyway, thank you so much. I hope you all are having yourselves a wonderful, wonderful Wednesday. I see you all. Leela Rucker is in the building. I see you, Penny Thompson, Deborah Chakoa, Marcus Atkins, Pretty Brown Mimi. You guys are stepping up into the Raw Squad YouTube. I'm interested. We're talking about love today, right? And we're talking about the love or the not love, the dislike maybe of Black women. We are talking about Black women today. That's the conversation. Black men and what they think about Black women. We're talking about Killer Mike and Donald Glover. And so we'll break that down in a little bit. But Speaking of love, I got to give some love to Usher, who finally showed, not finally, he just got married on the 11th, so just 3 days ago, right ahead of Super Bowl, his Super Bowl performance. He got married to his longtime girlfriend, Jennifer. How cute is that? Yeah, we knew it, though. We knew it because we saw that, I guess it was TMZ. TMZ reports everything. TMZ, they reported that they went ahead and got the marriage license. And then later that day, they all showed up and they had white outfits on. And it was real. It was a moment. It was a real cute moment. But now he is showing his wedding photos and he is playing some of this new music. It's nice. It's a vibe. So shout out to Usher and Jennifer for their wedding. Very, very cute. Monique, we just talked about Monique yesterday and the saga, the drama with her son. We are sending love and prayers to them. However, she today shared screenshots, her private screenshots between her and her son, and she's trying to prove to the world that she actually does love her son in spite of what he said. So, in my opinion, she's opening this up a little bit too wide. And I say she because, again, she's the parent. She's also the one with the big platform. So she's sort of asking for the public to just sort of dive in. So that's that. She's showing, text messages. I read them. They look very nice. They were from a couple of years ago. But, we'll see where that conversation goes, between Monique and her son. Charlie Wilson actually sat down. I think I want to have a conversation about this soon. He sat down for a recent conversation on the heels of him getting his Hollywood, his star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. Congratulations, Uncle Charlie. But he sat down for a conversation about ageism. Charlie Wilson is a little older. He still got it, though. Charlie Wilson still got it. That's who you should have played, Andy. You should have played some of that Uncle Charlie. We may bring that up in conversation pretty soon. But I do see that we have a phone call. Can we go ahead and get to the phone call while we got a moment? Let's talk to JW from South Central LA. Hey, JW, happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day to you as well, Robin. You made a valid point when you were talking about every day should be Valentine's Day, even though you didn't be real specific. But you know what? To go overboard on social media, and they are demonstrating about what they don't have or what's lacking. But I was hoping you would have had called. Let me speak earlier after you finish making your various talking points, because I'm moving around trying to multitask. But yeah, back to what's his name, Ursula. Okay, now I heard earlier somebody was making some complaints about Ursula married a white woman. Because I don't know. I just learned that earlier. Am I correct? Yes or no?
She's not a white woman. She's very, very fair skinned, though.
Okay, so it's a longtime friend that is a black woman that's light skinned. Okay, so whatever they said was a falsehood. Yeah. But that's wonderful anyway, because apparently they have history, so that's a good thing. But yeah, because somebody was making reference to his show and how it was kind of like different and weird. I said, wait, that's a nice variety show, and it had a lot of different stars, and it was flexible and different in terms of different vibes. And
well, you know what? He's actually JW. He's going on tour, so hopefully we can catch him on tour. We can celebrate him in real life wherever you see him. So JW, keep your eyes and ears open to the Raw Report, because we will tell you when he's going to be coming, when Usher is going to be coming, and you might see his very fair-skinned wife in person. Okay, so thank you so much for the call. Let's go ahead and jump into the Rob Report, Andy.
Now it's time for a breakdown.
I told you, it's Killer Mike and it's Donald Glover. We're talking about black women. Killer Mike says black men need to marry black women. And Donald Glover has been accused for years of not favoring or treating black women less favorable than others. We're going to break all of that down with our wonderful contributor who's on the phone with us. On the other side, you are listening to the Raw Report. It's Valentine's Day. We got DJ A+ in the building. We're going to do it all on the other side. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
Yo, what's going on? It's your boy Eric Bellinger hanging out right here with my family at the Raw Report. Keep it locked.
You're inside the Raw Report with Robin Ayers on KBLA Talk 1580. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that caring for the community means caring about the climate. You might have heard that we announced a pretty bold 12-month, $2 million campaign to do 4 things. Increase climate literacy, turn up the volume on communities of color in the climate conversation, connect everyday people with the resources they need to survive and thrive, and highlight frontline climate justice crusaders of color throughout this year. KBLA Talk 1580 will be bringing you insightful interviews on all of our shows to help raise your climate IQ. Each quarter this year, we will also be hosting free climate events in various communities throughout the city with food, fun, and forward-thinking conversations. Thanks to partners like LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, the Sierra Club, the California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, AQMD, MWD, and more. You'll also be hearing more about a couple of national town halls broadcasting live from Los Angeles, to which you will be invited. And we'll be rolling out a robust social media campaign on all our platforms, as well as an outdoor media campaign, all designed to educate, enlighten, and empower you in our fight for climate justice.
We want cleaner air.
Caring about the community means caring about the climate. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe that we really can change the world. If we care enough. If we care enough. If we care enough. If we care enough. If we care enough.
Don't settle for bumps, ingrowns, and itch due to dry skin. Try Venus for pubic hair and skin, the razor and regimen specifically designed for your pubic area, featuring a razor with patented irritation defense bar and skincare regimen that is dermatologist and gynecologist tested. Venus helps protect your pubic skin from shave irritation. Discover the full regimen of products at GilletteVenus.com.
With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, banking with Capital One is the easiest decision in the history of decisions. Even easier than choosing Charles Barkley in a pickup game.
We'll take Barkley.
Ha! First pick. Sorry, kids.
Yep, even easier than that. With no fees or minimums and no overdraft fees, is it even a decision?
Okay, here's the plan. Pass me the ball every time.
This is banking reimagined. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com/bank for details. Capital One N.A. member FDIC.
Linking social justice and climate justice all year long. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Substance use disorder and addiction is so isolating. And so, as a Black woman in recovery, hope must be loud. It grows louder when you ask for help and you're vulnerable. It is the thread that lets you know that no matter what happens, you will be okay.
When we learn the power of hope, recovery is possible. Find out how at startwithhope.com. Brought to you by the National Council for Mental Wellbeing, Shatterproof, and the Ad Council.
Giving you your daily dose of entertainment and celebrity news. You're inside the Rob Report. With Robin Ayers on KBLA Talk 1580.
I was rolling in my car when I pulled up at the mall. Couldn't find a place to park. Threw my keys to the valet.
You are inside the Raw Report. I could keep this going all day, all night. Uncle Charlie Wilson, listen, if y'all not up on it, wait, hold on. Andy knows what he's doing back there. All right. Let me settle down. All right, for you guys inside the poll, I have a question. The question is, should we be celebrating Valentine's Day? Is it like, yes, of course we need to celebrate, or is it not? It's just another day. I need to know how you think. So go ahead and vote over there in our YouTube poll. Thank you for that song, Andy. I appreciate you so much.
You're very welcome. I had a crazy thought about Valentine's Day. Yesterday, real quick. I know a lot of people sometimes they have issues like, well, why do we have to make a big deal about Valentine's Day? I love you every day, right? But there are times where, yeah, there is love every day, but sometimes through the hustle and the bustle in life, sometimes you kind of forget. You forget to love. Mm-hmm. So I think there's nothing wrong with highlighting a day focused on that as a way to just, remind you.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. Thank you for that. Let's go ahead and get to our contributor who's on the line with us, TK Trinidad. It is Wednesday, so that means we get TK. How are you today, TK?
I'm wonderful. How are you doing?
I'm also wonderful. Are you a celebrator or are you a it's just another day kind of woman?
I mean, it depends. This is going to sound terrible. It depends on the person I'm dating's bank account.
Oh, me and Andy had the same face at the same time. I didn't expect that. Okay, it depends on their bank account. Fair enough.
They can't.
Fair
if
enough.
They're not, I respect if you're like working a lot of jobs and you can't. I'm not going to demand certain things, but if you have the luxury of, living a nicer lifestyle, then I expect, some nice things on Valentine's Day.
Wow, okay, all right. So if you step into TK, step it up. Okay, all right. Anyway, TK, we are talking about the love or dislike of Black women today. And it's actually not even fair how I'm posing this, because according to Donald Glover, he says he's being unfairly accused and it's not right. He says he has no problem with Black women. But before we go into Donald Glover, I want to get to Killer Mike. Killer Mike, who we know, who swept the rap genre of the Grammys. Good for him. He got 3 Grammys over, just last week or when the Grammys were. He was also detained and arrested that same night. And but he's trying to get past that. He's not shedding too much light on that. And I actually like the lens that he's looking at that particular situation through. But he was recently talking on his interview, and he was talking about Black women and how Black women Black men should marry Black women because we are the only ones who will understand. Let's listen to Killer Mike on that.
So when I say I married a Black woman, Walter T. Williams said there's only one case he agreed with in terms of segregation. And people are like, well, what is that? Because you've been free thinking. You're over here writing conservatives. And he says that's when it comes to marriage. You should marry a Black woman. Mm-hmm. Because who's going to understand me like a Black woman? Who gonna understand my pain, my strife, my struggle? Who's going to understand culturally how important it is for my Black children to be proud to be Black? Even when she didn't birth these children, she's still their mother. Nobody's going to do that like a Black woman. Yeah. Nobody's going to. And that's not putting down other people, but that's say before you criticize me now. Yeah. I'm going to look at your life decisions.
Yeah. Okay.
And if you know what I'm saying, and if your life decisions didn't bring you to a Black woman, then a lot of the shit you say might not be a credit to me. So I got a critic, I know this nigga don't like me. That's right. I know this nigga don't like me. I don't act like this nigga like me. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, he's talking about somebody. He's basically, we heard what he said. What do you take away from what he said? This is an ongoing conversation, as you know, TK. We have this conversation quite a bit on this particular show about Black men and how they should stick to, Black women, vice versa, understanding the struggle. And people are on different sides of it because of our own experiences. Where do you stand with what Killer Mike said?
I mean, I definitely agree with it. Culturally, there's just things that are just easier to teach and understanding. However, I'm also of the mindset that, whatever people's personal experiences are, because it's also what your preference is. And at the end, and also if you know too why your preference is that way. For instance, I have a friend, she dates either Asian or white men. And the reason that she dates that is when she was younger, Black men weren't checking for her. So, and I know Black guys who are the same way too. And she can identify that. And like, to me, and you don't owe me any type of explanation, but when you can explain or you can articulate why your preference is this, then it's like, just like that's your life. Yeah, it'd be great because I think we're one of the only races that dates outside of a race more often than others. And, we're also losing the dollar and all the things, but you can't, condemn somebody for loving who they want to love.
Okay, so my question is this. Hold on. First of all, I see NWA says, hang on, there's no vice versa. This is just an excuse to attack Black men. No one ever says Black women should marry Black men.
Oh, I digress.
I'm going to disagree with that because there have been those conversations. But let me ask you this, because I know even what Killer Mike said. By the way, it's funny because Killer Mike is not saying anything different than what Dr. Umar usually says. And I can't take Dr. Umar. I can't take it. I always have something to say. I got some pushback when Dr. Umar speaks. It's his delivery, yes. So maybe Killer Mike, I appreciate, his delivery a little bit more. However, I'm going to say this because he said, I am going to look at your life decisions, basically, and I'm going to see if what you've done in life leads you back to a black woman, and he's going to judge you off of that. What if, just hypothetically, what if some black men actually don't have... This is a controversial statement because we can push back and say all black men have the struggle, right? Which, yes, I do understand that from the bird's eye view. All black men have a struggle. All black men have a target on their back. But what I'm saying is some black men move through this world and maybe have had the privileges in life and have not necessarily had the struggle for a black woman to understand his struggle. So what if he doesn't necessarily care so much or put an emphasis on the culture and needing a black woman to understand his culture? What if, I'm just saying hypothetically, what if that's the case? And he ends up dating a white woman, an Asian woman, an Indian woman, or something like that. And people are judging him for his own decision because he fell in love with someone who just wasn't a black woman. And we as a society look at this man because no matter what we say, we can, for the most part, we say, yeah, you can marry whoever you want to, but for the most part, truly, people are judging you. Shouldn't that be the case? Shouldn't it be, shouldn't this man have the freedom to do so?
No, I definitely agree. I mean, being born and raised in Canada, I understood certain things as far as African American. My thing's going off. However, I can empathize because me growing up in Toronto is a totally different experience. So, I understand for somebody else who didn't either grow up here or they grew up somewhere else, not everywhere, like the horror stories that I heard of people that, born and raised in inner cities, that's not how I grew up. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of differences. Even when I dated somebody who was from here, there's a lot of differences that I didn't even realize that we eventually realized together. So again, it's a case by case basis, and that's why you can't really judge people because you don't know what's happening in their mind, what their childhood was like, all these things. So when people go over the ledge, and you're condemning somebody for making certain decisions, I mean, who are you? You know what I'm saying? It's just
right. No, I get that.
Like, because it's also you can choose. You could be a black man or you can be whatever, and when you want to date within your race, but then you're still not treating that woman like she's a queen. You're kind of treating her. So then does that make it better because she's black, right, but you still don't treat her well? Like,
you know what? I want to talk about something that you just brought up. You might be the perfect person to help us understand another side of things. You talked about growing up in Canada, and you don't necessarily look at things the way that we do here. When we grew up here, you might see things a little bit differently. With that being said, when you look at, let's turn over to the Donald Glover conversation, and we'll break that down a little bit more, I'm sure, on the other side about why people say that he maybe dislikes black women or he doesn't favor them, treat them in a favorable manner as well as he does any other race. When you see things like that, does it not bother you because you're not triggered the same? You didn't grow up the same way. So does that bother you when you hear these conversations about Donald Glover? Like, we may pay attention to it, but do you not see it that way because of how you grew up?
I think that is possible because my dad's side in particular, I think, 8 or 9 siblings. Out of all his brothers, my dad and then his one brother married black women. Everybody else married white women.
Ooh.
Or fairly light women.
Wow.
So, and they were from Trinidad. So my favorite aunt is white. I've known her before. She knew me before I was even born. So my interactions with white people in particular, and I also gravitate to white women who look like her. Like my therapist looks like her. So my interaction and, and trust me, I've had some issues with white folks. So it's not like, oh, it's all hunky-dory, but my interactions with white women or my interactions with police or stuff, it's totally different. So when I see that, I get where people are coming from because I also I'm on the same kind of mindset that, I really want to maintain my West Indian culture. So even if I marry somebody who's not West Indian, they still need to at least understand why certain things are happening and not buck against it or be ignorant to it. So I understand that as well. So it's just kind of being open to it and having those understandings. So again, with Donald Glover, in all honesty, I know men like him. I'm not surprised that he married a white woman. And I don't think I honestly think black women weren't checking for him, honestly.
That could be a story. That's fair.
I know a lot of men like him. He was probably nerdy, very artistic, all this. Women were really checking for
He's still
gangsters,
nerdy,
so they
not
weren't
just plain
checking for him.
Glover.
He still kind of sort of is, and probably black women weren't checking for him.
Yeah.
So you're gonna go to where you're liked.
Yeah.
I'm kind of 80% sure. Because I know a lot of people who are so it's like, so how can you fault somebody who wants to find love?
Well, that's my whole point. Andy?
So hold on real quick.
Okay, go ahead.
So are you saying, generally speaking, that black women don't like nerdy black men?
She didn't say that.
I know she didn't say it, but it was just in the description of Donald Glover and the fact that you can see why black women probably wasn't checking for him and the fact that, we put out nerdy out there. I was just curious, is that a...
Well...
Hold on, wait. He posed the question, and I do want you to answer, but we got to answer this on the other side. It's getting good because I really want to break this down and talk about why is it that we have pushed back on Donald Glover and said you don't like black women, you don't treat black women right. What is it that we're seeing? What are we calling out? I want to interrogate that and probe it a little bit further on the other side. Right now, we've got news, traffic, and sports. You are listening to the Rob Report on KBLA Talk 1580. Stay there.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy, Lil Rel Howery. Right now, you're listening to KBLA Talk 1580. That's right. The Rob Report.
More of The Rob Report with Robin Ayers when we come forward.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. Retired Detroit Police Chief James Craig is out of the race for the Republican nomination for U.S. Senate in Michigan. He suspended his campaign and told the Detroit Free Press it was due to not having the support of enough donors to continue. Craig, who is black, is now eyeing running for mayor of Detroit next year. He previously ran for the Republican nomination for governor in 2022, but did not make the primary ballot due to not having enough ballot petition signatures. Lieutenant Brenda Cowan is being remembered on the 20th anniversary of her death. The Lexington, Kentucky firefighter was the first African-American female in the department. A wreath-laying ceremony was held at the Fallen Firefighters Monument in Phoenix Park. Cowan was shot and killed while responding to a domestic violence call at a home, and the department has since changed policies for such calls since her death. Brenda Cowan Elementary School is named in her honor. That's the latest. I'm Amber Payton on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
Trouble in Echo Park continues on the 101 South before Benton Way, Rampart Boulevard split as an accident blocks the left lane with heavy traffic from Liberty Canyon Road over 2.5 hours. Making our way through Anaheim's 91 West at Harbor Boulevard, accident's been cleared with a 20-minute traffic jam in recovery from Imperial Highway. Meanwhile, on the 55 North in Costa Mesa between Palorino Avenue and the 91 freeway, a 35-minute traffic jam still runs heavy. And now in Orange on the 55 South off-ramp to Nor Ranch Road, Lincoln Avenue split. A stalled big rig is blocking the second lane from the left, with CHP on scene causing a slight slowdown.
Why are people saying Hugh yeah to Jackson Hewitt? When you switch to Jackson Hewitt, they will beat what you paid last year on tax prep, even if you filed online. Proof of prior year payment required when filing. New clients only at participating locations through April 7th. Terms at jacksonhewitt.com.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
The Lakers will be without LeBron James for tonight's game in Utah. The medical staff wants him to rest his sore ankle. LeBron will benefit from the extra rest with the All-Star break coming after tonight's game. Top 5 men's college basketball teams in this week's AP poll: UConn, Purdue, Houston, Marquette, and Arizona. Top 5 women's teams: South Carolina, Ohio State, Stanford, Iowa, and Texas. UCLA is 9th, USC 10th. Today's Black History Month sports moment: on May 2nd, 1968, Bill Russell became the first black head coach to lead his team to the NBA championship. Russell led the Boston Celtics over the Lakers in the NBA Finals. The Celtics won the series 4-2. Russell is one of only 8 basketball players to win an NBA title, an NCAA championship, and an Olympic gold medal. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson. More news, opinions, and conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
We all agree that America has a very serious problem.
Okay, KBLA delegation, we need your help as we launch our 2024 Climate Justice Campaign. We would deeply appreciate you going to our KBLA 1580 website and filling out a short climate justice survey, which will help us better serve our beloved community as we build out this campaign. It'll take you just a few short minutes to complete the online survey, and the information you provide us will be invaluable as we do our part to hold folk accountable and amplify the voices of our people in this climate conversation. When you take the survey, you'll be automatically entered to win seats at our annual Black History Month luncheon, Thursday, February 29th. So, hit our website at KBLA 1580. Help us out by taking the short climate justice campaign survey, and you could be our guest at our annual Black History Month luncheon, Thursday, February 29th. Thank you in advance for your consideration and cooperation. At KBLA Talk 1580, we care about the community, we care about the climate.
City of Los Angeles landlords that own rent-controlled properties, you are now able to increase rents by 4% for your rent-controlled properties. An extra 1% per utility up to 6% can be added only if you pay the entire gas and electric bill. And don't forget to give your tenant an advance 30-day written notice for rent increases of less than 10%. It is state law. Learn more about the rent increase at housing.lacity.org. That's housing.lacity.org.
It's time to represent your community in the 2024 presidential primary election. When you vote, you get to decide what is best for you, your neighborhood, and your family. Use your power. Make a plan to vote today. Visit plan.lavote.gov. That's plan.lavote.gov to get everything you need to vote in the March 5th presidential primary election. Brought to you by the Los Angeles County Registrar.
KBLA Talk 1580.
We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 believes in community empowerment. LA's 99 neighborhood councils form the grassroots level of the Los Angeles city government. The system was created to connect LA's diverse communities to City Hall. While neighborhood council board members are volunteers, they are also public officials elected to office by the members of their community. Neighborhood councils advocate on issues like homelessness, housing, land use, emergency preparedness, public safety, parks, transportation, and sustainability. They also provide local expertise on the delivery of city services to their various communities. Neighborhood councils are open to participation by anyone who is a part of the fabric of daily life in said community. This includes those who live, work, or own property or a business. If you are interested in stepping up to join your local neighborhood council, visit www.empowerla.org. That's empowerla.org. It's time to think globally, but act locally. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Keeping you informed about what's really going on. Who's got next? And what not to miss in entertainment. You're listening to The Rob Report on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. Don't catch you slipping now. Look what I'm whipping now. This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. Don't catch you slipping now. Look what I'm whipping now.
You are inside the Raw Report on KBLA Talk 1580. If you're just joining us, welcome on in here. We are talking about black women. Killer Mike said black men should marry black women. And if you're not, if you have not, he's looking at you sideways, basically. Well, we also have pivoted now to another conversation about Donald Glover and why people are saying that he does not like black women. But on the other side, Andy did bring up a question about black men being nerdy, and do black women like nerdy women? I don't know if that's if that's a fair way to present it, We're on the phone with TK Trinidad, our entertainment contributor of the day. TK, I said that you could respond on the other side. So if you remember what you were going to say, by all means, please respond to Andy.
I mean, so nerdy meant, for me, I've grown to appreciate. But let's be honest, in elementary school and high school, I mean, I don't know about y'all. We went for the popular people. Mm-hmm. The cutest guy was the cutest guy to all the girls, and vice versa. So, like, and then you weren't really allowed to, like, well, I wasn't really allowed to date, so you just, like, looked and it was like, oh, he's cute. You weren't really looking at the nerdy guys because they didn't have the swagger. As, you know, you get older, you can appreciate them, but I really think that, in particular for Donald Glover, I'm willing to bet in the formative years, Black women probably weren't checking for him. Because when I speak to men and women, both Black men and women who, and this is not for everybody, obviously, but the ones who tend to date outside their race, a lot of them that speak to me, it always goes back to the childhood. Like, they weren't checking for me when I was a kid, so, you know, you're going to go for what you like. So, yeah, nerdy guys are, you know, they weren't hot. Everybody's looking at the jock and the cheerleader.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Does that answer your question, Andy?
I mean, I already knew the answer to that. I'm just like, what is it about Childish Gambino that gives you nerdy vibes?
Well, he'll state that. He's actually talked about that. He's talked about it a lot.
I just want the breakdown. That's all I'm saying.
Well, you know, he's talked about it. Well, let's continue the conversation about Childish Gambino, Donald Glover. Okay, I'm reading the comments over here, and thank you guys for joining in and engaging with this conversation. Amandeezy, I think I'm saying this right, says, I get the feeling that women saying Donald Glover or Donald doesn't like Black women are just mad that he's successful and wouldn't pick them, even while they ridicule him. I don't know. Pretty Brown Mimi says, I like the Black nerdy types versus the sexier Black types. Less drama and they're employed. I mean, ambitious. Okay. Well,
amen.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Andy?
So hold on.
Yep.
So a Black nerd can't be sexy?
Black nerds can be sexy.
Okay, I'm just curious.
They can be.
Just the distinction was just interesting.
Yeah. Right. I get what you're saying. Oh, and you know, we're making blanket statements here. You know, there's you know, this is interesting. Let me just say this. A couple of years ago, as a matter of fact, when we were talking about Dr. Umar earlier, whom, you know, I have some things to say about Dr. Umar usually, but he made a statement about this song, This Is America, and about the video specifically. If you guys remember this song, Donald Glover's This Is America did a huge numbers on the Billboard chart. It debuted at #1. And it remained there for a long time. So it was, you know, it was some great conversation around that video. However, Dr. Umar said that basically he had some great things to say in this song. However, he because he showcased white women in the video, that it sort of discredited what he was saying about This Is America against Black people. So Dr. Umar wanted to point out the fact that, you know, anything that Donald Glover said at that point, you know, about pro us and this is what's happening to Black people was discredited because he had white women inside the video. Let's go ahead and jump into our phone call. We have Fahima who is on the line. It is really good to hear from you, Fahima. How are you today?
Happy Valentine's Day, Robin.
Same
and
to
happy
you.
Valentine's Day to the Raw Squad.
Yes, Raw Squad.
Truth is, I put some comments in the chat. One comment I didn't put in the chat until I had confirmed it. Glover was raised a Jehovah's Witness, so he wouldn't have been dating anyone outside of Kingdom Hall as he was coming up. The other thing, I know NWA, he said that no one was checking Black women for dating outside. Well, NWA may not have heard it, but there was a lot of backlash about Eve marrying a white guy, about Serena Williams, and even Kamala Harris. It was criticized for not being married to a Black man. So women do get that backlash as well. In my view, and I think I put my response in the as far as I'm concerned, people can be with whomever they want. Only thing is, I don't think that if a black man is dating a white woman, he really shouldn't ask her to be more like Betty Shabazz and Coretta Scott King, unless, of course, he's trying to be Malcolm X and MLK.
Fair enough. Fair enough. We get that point. Thank you so much, Fahima. Again, it's really good to hear from you. And welcome on back to the Raw Squad, Fahima.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I hear that point. I actually hear those points. And you know what's interesting, TK? We often talk about the fact that black people are not a monolith. That's one thing that people love to say. We love to say that about our own kind. However, as soon as we're not all abiding by the same rules of like dating and marrying, we have something to say to them. We have a way that we want to knock them for not being. When we say that we all have all these different experiences, these life experiences. Like I've always said this. I have had one of the greatest men that I've ever known. My stepfather, Charles Shakoa, who was a white man who has rest his soul. He's no longer with us, but a white man who treated my mother amazingly well. You get what I'm saying? And so this whole conversation about we should be sticking to our own kind, and I'm not mad at that either. For those people who do have a struggle, for those people who have gone through life experiences, and you want someone who probably understands where you came from, probably understood the type of neighborhood that you grew up in, that's fine for you. I'm not knocking that at all, because that's something that I understand. However, those people who grew up in a Calabasas or a Bel Air, or I mean, that's a little bit on the, the other end of the spectrum, but I'm saying people who have a different life experience, who don't have a struggle, they may relate to someone who they went to school with. They may have fallen in love with someone who they went to college with. And that too is okay. And that seems to be the story of Donald Glover. People have said, TK, and I don't know if you've watched that show, his movie or his show Swarm. I didn't watch it. I know there was a lot of talk around it. It was with Chloe Bailey and Dominique and all of these wonderful people, and I heard that it was wonderful. But they said that he did not showcase black women in the right light, in the best light. So is that even fair? Is that a fair thing for people to try to like hold on to something just so that they can claim he doesn't like black women?
This will get to a touchy subject because it's art, right? Because even in his last movie, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, that was on Prime, which is actually really good, it was an Asian woman showcased, right? And now you can argue, well, why didn't that go to a black woman, all this other stuff. But you can't fault the person showcasing artwork. And then what about, like, Alana? Even though Alana was strange, it had a whole bunch of black people in there. And it was different than a lot of other stuff that we've seen. So, you can't fault the man for just showing his craft. And if you have a problem with it, then don't watch it. Like, oftentimes, like, in the society where we are, like, we have social media and we're able to voice our opinion, but we're voicing our opinion, but we're not giving an option for change, or you're not being the change. Like, if you want something that's going to showcase black women in a positive light, then create something or support the person who's actually doing it. And if you believe that he didn't do it, then don't support him.
Donald Glover has spoken out. He said that it hurts him, basically, to hear this narrative that he doesn't like black women. That hurts him. He also says that he feels like people are using this narrative of black women to say that, like sort of using it against him. And we have seen, I've actually interviewed him before when he was, he played Simba in The Lion King. So that was great, and I was actually able to talk to him about, the black experience, talk to him about one of my favorite topics, which is imposter syndrome. We had a good conversation about that. But he has slowly stopped doing a lot of these interviews and press junkets and things like that. He's sort of slowly kind of bringing that to a halt, and it seems as though he just wants to focus in on his art and stay away from the crowds. Do you think that, something will redeem him? Does he have to do something in order for him to redeem himself?
I mean, it honestly just depends on what his goal is. Like, you can't please everybody, right? And obviously somebody in the entertainment world believes in his projects because he's getting these projects made on a fairly good budget. So, you know, he can take the Beyonce and the Drake approach, and there's quite a few artists now who refuse to do interviews because of stuff like this. They're either, people take their art and they create a whole narrative, and then when they try to refute it, they create a whole nother narrative, and it's like, well, it's damned if I do, damned if I don't. So I might as well just do what I love, and you guys can think of what you want to think. And I think in that interview, he also said the people who know me know that's not what I'm about. So it's just kind of like, sometimes you're just like, you can't please everybody. And again, in this society, like, we all think we're, you know, film critics, art critics, relationship coaches, and all this stuff when, you know, that's not the case. So if he doesn't do another interview again, like, and he's still making great, like, I honestly like Mr. and Mrs. Smith. It was a really good, it was definitely on the same type of Donald Glover type art, because you're like, wait, what's happening? And then you start to like it. That's kind of his MO. So, you know, I really liked it. And if he keeps making great art, then, you know, I'm going to appreciate it. And for those, again, who don't want to support him because he married a white woman, then don't support him. I think he's going to be good.
I hear you. I agree with you. Wow, you guys are lighting this chat room up, and that's what I like to see, because we, you know, regardless of if I can read every single comment, it really is about engaging with one another and always continuing to have these conversations in our own communities. We take it to we have conversations within our home or within our group of friends or wherever we can, because this is how change is made. We have conversations about them, and people come up with ideas, and we move it forward. TK, truly a blessing, truly a good time talking with you today. I appreciate you as always. Can you let everybody know where they can find you online? And please, you guys, go ahead and follow TK, because, you know, she be doing her thing out there. TK, where can they follow you?
I appreciate you. You can find me on everything, everywhere at TK Trinidad.
All the things. Well, enjoy the rest of your evening and your Valentine's Day night, TK.
All right, thanks. You too.
All right, thank you. I hear you. I'm actually going to read some of these emails on the other side. I hope we can get to a who's got next and what not to miss. For sure, what not to miss. I have something that I want to share with you guys on the other side. You're listening to KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, I'm Damian Young. I'm chilling with Robin on the Raw Report.
You're inside the Raw Report with Robin Ayers on KBLA Talk 1580.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed? Because no two people sleep the same. Only the Sleep Number smart bed lets you each choose your individual firmness and comfort, your Sleep Number setting. The Climate 360 smart bed is so smart it actively cools or warms up to 13 degrees on either side for your ideal sleep temperature. J.D. Power ranks Sleep Number #1 in customer satisfaction with mattresses purchased in-store. And now save 50% on the Sleep Number limited edition smart bed. Limited time. For J.D. Power 2023 award information, visit jdpower.com/awards. To find a store near you, visit sleepnumber.com.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
eBay Motors is here for the ride. 120,000 miles of night drives, daily commutes, and who knows how many.
Are we there yet?
Through countless fixes, elbow grease, and a new radiator, you kept your ride alive. With eBay Motors, you have over 122 million parts to keep it running. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, they'll be the perfect fit every time. Plus, at these prices, well, we're burning rubber, not cash. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
If you say you care about the community, you have to also care about the climate. We're KBLA Talk 1580, and we've got your black. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA reminds you that when we fight, we win, and we don't black down.
LA Community Action Network, or LA CAN, was formed in 1999 when 25 residents of downtown LA came together and acknowledged the problems that existed in their community and made a commitment to do something about those problems, to stand together, organize, and become a force in the community that demands change. Civil rights and preventing the criminalization of poverty are their core projects. In addition, they take on women's rights, the human right to housing, and healthy food access. LA CAN also has projects focused on economic development, civic participation, voter engagement, and community media. While downtown LA remains their home base, with a particular emphasis on the Skid Row community, in 2007, they expanded their housing and healthy food access work into South Central Los Angeles. LA CAN believes that power for low-income people and people of color is achieved through a large, active, and well-informed member base that utilizes a multitude of methods to advance their messages and goals. If you'd like to join the Los Angeles Community Action Network and organize people to fight back against oppression, please visit cangress.org. That's cangress.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Giving you your daily dose of entertainment and celebrity news.
You're inside the Rob Report.
With Robin Ayers on KBLA Talk 1580.
I am, wow. I'm reading a lot of these comments that you guys have left over in our YouTube chat, and wow. And I agree with so much of what you guys are saying in here. Thomas Outlaw says, love has no boundaries or direction, just realizing that some love is more cathartic than others. Very, very true. Lavelle says Swarm was good, by the way. And I'm curious, if you saw Swarm, do you happen to think, like some people think, that Black women weren't shown in the best light in that show? I wouldn't know. I did not watch that show, but I'm curious to know what you guys would think. Rob the Hitmaker, if I'm saying that wrong, I apologize. Rob the Hitmaker says the same presumptions can be placed on Kanye, but I don't think any of them dislike Black women. They're just drawn to women around them. Now, that's something we have not really even touched on. Kanye, you know, he in his song, Andy, what was the line when he said, when you get on, you leave who for a white girl? You leave your okay. You leave your tail, leave your butt for a white girl. Isn't that what Kanye West has done? Kanye West, he used to date a woman named Alexis, and from what I understand, he used to really be into Black women, but you know, he wound up dealing with Kim Kardashian and now his wife Bianca. Shout out to him. Again, I'm not going to knock it because I do, like I said, I stand on that. I think we all have different perspectives. We all have different life experiences that lead us one way or another. For him, it could be for a lot of those men. You know, when we see a lot of men who are successful young, when they meet someone before they blow up, right? Before they get on, they meet someone, and it's really who's around them, who they have access to, who can relate to them. And then as they become more successful, everything changes. Their tax bracket changes, their neighborhood changes, the people that they have business deals with, they are sitting in boardrooms, and all of the things change. And again, if your neighborhood changes and everything that you do, you're around different people. So why wouldn't you become attracted to somebody who you are around quite often if it's not of the same race? So that's just what I believe. But DJ Black 909, this one is actually pretty interesting to me. You said, you introduced, have you heard of SYSBM? And I had to go ahead and look it up. And I'm shook, all right? SYSBM is known as Save Yourself Black Men. Now, if I'm wrong about this, DJ Black 909, let me know and correct me. But from what I'm seeing, it says Save Yourself Black Men. They're a group of straight Black men that are simply going their own way for peace of mind. It says due to the nature of the Black genocracy that primarily plagues African Americans, Black men aren't given the same levels of respect of other races receive. And so they are trying to find partners in Black women and American society as a whole. Very interesting. Andy?
I was gonna say, it sounds like an extension of the Passport Bros. I don't know if
The
you ever.
Passport Bros.
Yeah.
No, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, it's another little group. You know.
Are you? I mean, are you with it or no? Are you?
Find love, however which way you want to find love, but it sounds similar to what that SYSBM is.
This is very interesting. It says in the Black community, the Black woman is a goddess that can do no wrong, and the Black man exists to serve. Wow, that is save yourself, Black man. Okay, well, I'm not knocking it. Again, like Andy said, find love. All right, find love, however it suits you. I'm not mad at that. Let's see. I wish I had time to get to all of these comments, but I feel like this is a part 2. I'm sure we'll get to this conversation again. We actually don't have time to get into a who's got next, but I do want to remind you that I'm always taking requests, and if you guys submit to me on, DM on social media or emails or whatever, I'm always listening to your requests. But I do want to tell you what not to miss. Okay, this is exciting. Essence, as you know, they are set to honor Danielle Brooks, Halle Bailey, Nkechi Okaro Carroll, and Catherine Busby at the 17th Annual Black Women in Hollywood Awards, and that's hosted by Method Man. That's happening right here in LA, in Hollywood. So March 7th and March 8th. I am going to be there. I'm going to try my best to see if I can get speak to these women. Danielle Brooks, I've called out Halle Bailey and Chloe before, seeing if I can get a conversation with them. We'll see. But congratulations to all of them. And shout out to Method Man for hosting this Black Women in Hollywood that's put on by Essence. So that's what I don't want you to miss. Keep your eye out for that. It has been a wonderful conversation with you guys, as always. And you already know, tomorrow we are back for another fire show, and I'm excited about that. But speaking of fire shows, you don't want to change that dial. No, you don't. Because Zoe Williams, the voice of reason, is right up after me. And he's going to bring a fire show like he always does. So we appreciate you guys. Make sure you like that video. Like it, subscribe, pass it forward. I am your host, Robin Ayers. And remember, today and every single day forward, be a blessing.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton. Here's the latest on the Black Information Network. 4 students have been shot at Benjamin E. Mays High School in Atlanta. The local school district said that following dismissal and unknown